by trying to put human characteristics on them. I do understand the controversy there. Um, my animals are my life. I care for them. I live and breathe and eat and dream of them. um, but I always respect the animal. You are a wolf. You are a lemur. You are a bird. You are an alligator. I'm not going to. I'm not going to sit here and put constructs saying the animal's sad, the animal's happy. I look for behavior because that's the best form of communication that I have with that animal. Okay, so the next one I had was showing something we're working on in one of our online memberships, which is the Parrot Project. And even though I'm talking about parrots, please listen to what I'm saying and put it into imagination for whatever animal you're working with. You hear me say a lot, studies show that predictability can lead to boredom. Their predictability does have its place. I will be very predictable with an animal that's very fearful until it gets better to understand my intentions better. I will be predictable on my approach, what I say, which foot goes in first, which hand I'm using, with the reinforcer I'm using. I want that animal to understand through repetition and be able to understand what I'm getting ready to do. And at the same time, I'm paying as close attention as possible to make sure I'm not pushing that animal past its comfort point. So once we get animals used to, if we're working with fearful animals, we start gaining their trust through the training that we do using applied behavior analysis and positive reinforcement. Then I start incorporating change. I'll start working on a new behavior. I will start working on changing the environment. We have a new animal in at the center right now, has been with us for 8 days. And this animal, I'm having a little bit of difficulty reading this animal. But I'm starting to learn because I'm trying to be predictable, and then I'm seeing that this animal have some concerns based on what the work I've done in the past. And I did mention to the staff and volunteers at the Animal Behavior Center this past week, I have a little red flag going. I have a couple little red flags starting to go off. What does that particular behavior mean that we're seeing? I do not know, but we can find out through training. I did say, I have a feeling we're going to start seeing behaviors labeled as aggressive, if we don't start changing up this animal's environment and moving it out of its enclosure. So it's really important for us. We have a center full of animals that have lost their homes or lost where they used to live, that we are empowering them through training, live streaming our work with them, and teaching the public through our live streams, this is how we approach this behavior. I'm not going to say it's correct. I won't know until I attempt and start experimenting with what's working, what's not working. So our ultimate mission is just empowering animals, no matter what their situation, whether it's through training, enrichment, modifying behavior, what have you. But once an animal feels that sense of empowerment and knows it has choice, control, and we add complexities to the environment, you will see that animal start to really thrive. And thriving can be described in many ways. I want the best for animal welfare through what they're eating. I want them exploring their environments. I want them moving the way they want to move, the way they can move, even if they have obstacles that prevent them from moving naturally. But what's really important is, I was going to show pictures. It's important to get their environments changing as soon as that animal is comfortable. We do this through shaping, reinforcing small approximations toward desired behavior. What's the behavior? What's the goal of this behavior modification plan? Every single goal behind our behavior modification plans are to empower the hell out of that animal. And most of our animals become education ambassadors that we can inform the public about. This is what we do. This is the importance in their wild setting. If this animal cannot go into the wild, back into the wild, this is what we're doing for them under our care. So stagnant environments lead to boredom and an array of behavior issues. I read a study once that said one of the most concerning behaviors to see from an animal under our care are those that just sit there, just perch there, do not interact with their environment. A lot of times, this is a very common question I hear from people. What's the hardest animal you've ever had to train? And everybody expects me to say a particular species, and that is not it. And I guess you define hard, challenging, time intense, attention to detail. Those are all reinforcers of mine to work with that animal. And I guess if you would say challenging, hardest, whatever, the hardest animal I've ever trained is the one that has a history of no enrichment, because that animal has limited choices. That animal has limited control over its environment, lack of complexities, and studies also show most animal environments lack complexities, and complexities in enrichment, whether that's foraging or training, that is what we focus on. How can we make this more complex for this animal and make sure the animal can solve it, and make sure that it's providing choice for that animal, and watch that that animal is engaging. And that is the reason why I train, because studies also show that if you're actually using positive reinforcement training, it's the animal's preferred form of enrichment. That is the number one reason why I train. And I know that for a fact. So we are with animals that are starting to thrive and thriving in our under our care. It's really important for us to change that environment, whether the animal is going into a different enclosure, an animal is coming out of its enclosure. So what I was going to show was a series of three different series of one different, I would say it's called, we do a lot of gems. We make a lot of enrichment that animals can hang from, can walk across, that provide choice. And it was showing how three different ways that you can use this particular tool that we were going to implement. Tim says the hardest animal to train is humans. That is loaded. That is loaded. That is why I like to work with exotics, because I love working one-on-one with the animal. But I also love working with people who want to know how to do better. And we do that through our memberships in our workshops. So I had a video that if you got my email last night, you saw the video of me scratching a pig. And the reason I posted that is because I was like, not only is this true for the pigs, this is true for the wolves that I'm working with. And it showed the end of a consultation with somebody where they came to me because they couldn't get the pig on a harness. We put the pig up, we got the harness. I showed them how to train the harness going on the pig. And then the last reinforcer was just a big belly scratch. So the reason I posted that is because we're talking about this in advanced applied animal training and behavior membership, where I'm showing working with the wolves, where I just mentioned be careful pairing yourself with food and food only as a positive reinforcer for numerous different reasons, because then the presence of you is going to become the cue that food is being delivered. Some instances, that's not a big deal. Some species you're working with, it is a big deal. And that is the pig and that is the wolf. We use food probably 45% of the time as a positive reinforcer. The rest of the time, we're using pace, proximity, rhythm, tone of voice, vocalization, heat or warmth, temperature, I guess is what I should say. You could use temperature of a reinforcer, temperature of an environment. It gets deep. So be careful not to get stuck on just using food as a reinforcer, because I'm getting ready to put myself in a situation where if I am only using food as the reinforcer, I am the cue to that animal. So I want to start slipping in other reinforcers as soon as possible and start adding the food as a variable in the timing of when I'm going to deliver food as a reinforcer. Does that make sense? Because if a pig, let's say a pig in particular, I've seen it happen, and I tell people, be careful just using food as your only reinforcer, because the pig will constantly look at you for food. And if you don't give it, levels of frustration can rise, and you're going to get a charge, you're going to get a head swipe. And to me, a charge from a pig is very scary. I don't want to put myself in that situation. So I may use food in the beginning until I can get certain behaviors. And then I'm going to bend over, I'm going to touch. A lot of pigs like to be scratched on the butt. You'll see their little mohawk go up. You'll see them stand still and just enjoy it. I'll scratch their stomach, but I'm going to add in other things as soon as possible so I don't get stuck. How we doing on time? I've got 5 minutes. So on my personal Facebook page, I posted a photo of Snow, our deaf and blind border collie, because the time changed here. So it stays darker later in the morning and it gets dark quick at night. So when I came home from the center, I noticed a couple of nights in a row, that's data, okay, 2 nights. It happened once, it happened again. Reinforcement is starting to happen. What's the behavior? What's the reinforcer? One of the lights I leave on in the house all day is my jellyfish lamp in the living room. And I came home 2 nights in a row to see Snow sitting beside that lamp. I have not seen her do that before. So I'm collecting data from the environment. What has happened? It's dark. It was dark both nights. Snow has no eye in one socket. She has a partially developed one in the other. And the only thing she can see, and I don't know how well, is high contrast light. Like if it's pitch black and a light is on, if I turn that off, that is her cue to stand up and move to another room because I'm getting ready to move. If it's sunny outside, and you can tell she's blind because she goes like this, and if it's sunny outside and she sees a shadow pass in front of her, she knows something's happened. So collecting that information into this particular situation, why is she doing this? Is it because that is the only light she can see in the house, which I think it is. And I don't know. It's got to be, she has to understand a period of time of knowing when I'm going to come home, but that's not always consistent. But I think it's the only light she can see in the house. And my other dog is deaf, so I've taught him to bark when he sees certain things around the house, because Quincy, our Rottweiler, I had to put down a year ago. She was his teacher, and she is gone. And so I have had to teach him since then, instead of relying on Quincy, let me train you. This is what we look for. This is when, can you please bark when you see this? And Snow can feel vibrations through her whiskers and through her hair. So there's certain things Levi will do when he knows I come home, and I've cued him to know that I'm coming home from about 50 feet away before I even walk in the front door. That will cue Snow to know that I'm home. So I think the behavior is of Snow standing beside that lamp is it's the only light that's on in the house, and the rest of the house is completely dark. I could rearrange the environment and turn on different lights in the house for her. What's the difference is when I stop home in the middle of the day, she's not downstairs. She's upstairs on her bed pretty much 95% of the time. And she will come down, because there are cameras in the house that I can see. She will come down, when she knows a time period of when I have been predictable in coming home. Yeah. Lisa says, I think it's so cool that she knows to go to the light. And yes, Mother Nature is very amazing. And good morning, Marion. I had 3 more videos, but we are out of time. And I want to say a few things before I end. And one is thank you for attending. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Thank you for attending. We will have a coffee with the critters. We're going to have a cocktail with the critters coming up here very soon. I'm just trying to decide when to do that. That is a group live stream where I create a Zoom session and you guys join me on a Saturday night, usually around 6:30. Everybody pours a beverage of choice and we sit and just chat, and I get to know my viewers because that's very important to me. If you like the work and the information you've seen today, go to our website, theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. We have 2 workshops posted already for next year. They will fill up quickly, and we wanted to get them posted before the holidays, and because we get a lot of people purchasing workshops, subscriptions to our live stream training memberships for the holidays. So I wanted to announce those. You can also go to our website and learn more about the workshops, Day with the Trainer, our live stream webinars, our podcasts, our different levels of memberships, which are Foundations, Understanding Behavior, Advanced Applied, where you see me work with numerous different species of animal, in the Parrot Project, which is pretty much just for people with parrots. I also want to say we have our recorded webinars. We also have upcoming live stream webinars. We have gift certificates available. If you're interested in purchasing a gift certificate and have questions for me, you can email me that you're interested in a gift certificate, and I will get one ready for you in whatever amount that you want or for whatever particular service you want. Last thing before we leave is, if you're interested in volunteering at the Animal Behavior Center, as of yesterday, we have 3 new volunteers. We bring you in through our nonprofit, which is called the Sam I Can Foundation. And pay attention to Tuesday morning. We are going to make a post on the Sam I Can Foundation's Facebook page. We also have volunteers that come in to work with us through the Sam I Can Foundation, and we've got 3 new ones getting ready to start. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you. Happy holidays, everybody. If you have any reason you need to reach out to me, feel free to email me. Everybody knows I respond to every single email. Okay, got to run. Got some new critters I got to meet this morning. Take care, everybody. See you, Deb. See you, Tim. See you, Ray. See you, Marion. See you, everybody.